Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Babylon 5 Retrospective Season 3. The best Wednesday night Babylon 5 Retrospective show that starts at 10 o'clock Central on YouTube. All right, right on. Is that what you wanted? Post? Q2. There we go. This week on the program, back to our regular scheduled program. This week on the program, we're talking about episode 5 from season 3, Voices of Authority. Yeah. I don't know. I think we might like this one, hopefully. But before we get into it, let me welcome my co-host, the man who is the embodiment of Zog. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. So, Cam, how was your... did you have a good day today?
Yeah, it was okay.
Okay, good. I don't really care. I just wanted to lead that into something that I wanted to talk about myself. I had to go. I had a horrible day. I had to go shopping. The wife said, "Hey, we need to get you some. It's my birthday's coming up." So I had to go and get. She's like, "We got to get you some boots and some shirts and stuff." So I had to go shopping and look at boots and shirts. Oh, don't you hate shopping? And women are the worst. They wander around and look at everything. You're like, get the boots. Let's get out of here. And of course, I can't. The stuff that she got, I can't. It's not my birthday yet. It's next week, so I can't actually touch the stuff. It's got to be hidden away and whatever until the day, right? So yeah. So that was my day. It's horrible. Okay, good.
Yeah, great.
Did you have anything to say about your day, if it was good or bad? I didn't mean to interrupt. Well, I did mean to, but...
I'm here for Babylon 5.
Okay, you're not here about my birthday. All right, never mind. All right. Okay, well, let's bring in Jeff, our co-panelist. Jeff, come on in. How's it going?
Oh, not bad. Not bad. I had to work late. Well, okay. I left and then came back, so...
All right.
Don't mind me.
All right. Nobody asked.
All right. I know. Nobody cares.
Let's get on. Okay, so no special guest today. It's just the three of us, the regulars. I guess we should jump right into it. Anybody have anything before we jump right into it? I mean trivia. We're going to do trivia first, of course. I did it in the wrong order last week, but we'll do trivia answers.
You didn't promote the 28th?
Cam is here every week. Why? He's the co-host of the show. I didn't promote the 28th. You want me to do it? I was going to do it at the end, but I guess I can promote it right now. Everyone remember, 2 weeks, only 2 weeks from now, we're going to have a live interview with Peter Jurasik, the Londo from Babylon 5. He's going to be here on the show. It's going to start early at 8 p.m. Eastern. So basically 2 hours earlier, I think, from whatever the time it is, our regular time. 2 hours or 3 hours? 8 p.m. Eastern. No, that's 3 hours, right? Because it's 11 p.m. Eastern right now. Excuse me, 3 hours. 3 hours early. So, I guess I should know that because that'll, I'm running the show. I better show up at the right time.
What are you, January 28th time zone?
January 28th. So, it should be exciting. If you are interested in getting in some questions, you can go in the Discord and post some questions that you want, and we'll sift through them, pick out the best ones. Hey, if it's your question, you'll get credit for it. Though we'll say, hey, this question's from whoever the person might be.
Oh yeah,
and we're gonna ask a bunch of questions. Be live, and Cam will be running the show as usual, the interview portion. So he'll be watching the chat, and if he sees a really good question come in the chat, he might just bring it up. All right, let's bring in Jason. All right, showing up fashionably late.
Hi.
Jason, welcome.
Hi.
How's it going? All right, we were just going to trivia. All right, so next week 2 weeks from now. Big show. All right, let's do trivia. Then let's get into the show. No more fooling around anymore. Trivia from last week's trivia. Path that's passing through Gethsemane. I thought it was an excellent episode. I really enjoyed it. Who beats Sheridan in a game of chess? Put your stuff in the chat right now. How many days did Lita drift in the life pod before the Vorons made contact? What is another name for the death of personality? What was the color of the rose? And what are the words written in blood?
Black and
scary stuff. Scary stuff. All right, let's go with the answers. Okay, Brother Theo beats Sheridan in the game of chess. Maybe he should be running the Earth Defense Force instead of Sheridan. Lita drifted for 5 days, she said, in the life pod. Of course, the death of personality, mind wipe. They call it mind wipe. And the rose was black, and death walks among you. Scary stuff. Oh.
What is someone? What are you doing? Eating a burger?
Is it eating chips or something? You got to bring some for everybody if you're gonna.
This is real professional, guys.
Eat on the stream. All right. Okay. And yeah. Okay.
What? I don't know what you're talking
about. All right. I'm gonna put that. We'll put that in the back. And at the end of the show, we will go over the.
No wonder
questions.
You're losing subscribers.
The trivia questions for.
Hey, I'm up to 57.
Yeah. Not you.
He means me.
Anyway, yeah, let's go.
We'll just have to mute Jeff. All right. Okay, so let's jump right into it. Yeah, who's with the bag of chips? Well, it's Jeff, of course. Yeah. Crinkle that louder. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, maybe we should say hello to everyone in the chat. Yes, hello, chatters. It's good to see. We see Mad Men in there. Good to see you. Outpost Nerd is in the chat. Dave, and he sends greetings from the Narn delegation. We appreciate that. We always like to hear from the Narn delegation. Jeanette Buffington, the person who brought Jeff the chips, probably. Who else do we see?
No, she's working.
Oh, okay. Snuggy Jr. is here, asking why Cam is here.
I asked the same question, honestly.
Yeah, he asked the same question. Did I miss anyone? I'm just scrolling down here. I think that's everyone. Everyone else is lurking, but that's fine. Lurkers down below, no problem. All right.
Oh, Madman's here. Did you say hi to Madman?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
he was the first one. Okay, let's jump right into it. Cam, you give us the quick summary, and I'll do the detailed summary as quick as possible so we can discuss this.
Certainly. Episode 49 overall, Season 3, Episode 5, Voices of Authority, written by J. Michael Straczynski. First original air date, January 29th, 1996. So just about 30 years ago exactly, right? Yeah. Episode 304 in production order, so reversed with last week's show. Ivanova and Marcus go searching for the first ones with the help of Draw. Sheridan comes under the scrutiny of the Night Watch, as well as Babylon 5's new political officer. Scrutiny being a very broad term in terms of that storyline, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, right on. All right, detailed. So the episode starts off with Garibaldi and Zach. Zach is complaining about his jacket, and it bugs him. Meanwhile, Garibaldi gets a call for a secret meeting with a code that makes Zach suspicious. Hey, I've never heard that code before. That might lead to something later on. Meanwhile, we cut to Garibaldi coming into the room, meeting with his fellow conspirators. They are talking about contacting the old ones. And they go over about how dangerous it is. Delin talks about how dangerous it is. And then the ranger guy gets up and says, hey, by the way, it was really dangerous when we talked about it in Mimbar. And then Delin says, hey, I'm going to bring Drawl. He's going to help us about this. And he comes up and he says, hey, I can help you. And also, it's really, really dangerous.
Isn't it exciting?
Yeah. So just in case you didn't know, it's dangerous. So Drawl is the guy from the Great Machine, of course, from an earlier episode on the planet. Yes. All right. So there's sort of two main things going on here. There's the attempt to contact the old ones. And there's the new political officer that shows up on the station. That's kind of the two main thing. Yes, Marcus. Yes,
Marcos. Yeah.
Also known as Aragon.
Polos. Yeah. Aragorn. I was thinking Aragorn too. I'm like, wow, they ripped that guy right straight from Lord of the Rings, didn't they?
You
Pretty
know,
much.
something I noticed when I was watching this one in that particular scene when he was talking about this stuff, his face, I thought he could be Dr. Bashir's brother.
He
They
could.
look close enough. They resemble each other. Alexander Siddig
Yeah.
and this guy. They look close. And they could play brothers in some kind of a production somewhere. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they could.
it was just an off the cuff random thought. I have those every now and again.
Mm.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let me just quickly jump through this. So, the political officer situation. I'll go through that first. Zach meets this political officer, Julie. She seems a little arrogant, um, to say the least.
Yeah.
Sheridan meets with Julie. She immediately hints that that various things are wrong with Babylon 5, even the way he set up his office. They have conflict right off the bat. Sheridan basically yells at her and lays down the law, and she's pretty deft at maneuvering around him and saying, "Yeah, don't worry, I'm just here to be an advisor." Blah blah blah. He has she asked to go to dinner with him, and they could talk about stuff. That's a bit of a problem for him because he had agreed at the same time to go down to the planet to discuss how they're going to contact the old ones with Droll. He decides to send Ivanova instead. Meanwhile, Sheridan and Julie have their little discussion. It's obviously very full of some double speak. She kind of admits it about when she talks about rewriting the dictionary. We can talk about that in detail. I think that's an interesting aspect. Later, after dinner, she goes back. They end up in Sheridan's quarters. We don't see why, but he says something like, "Oh, it's weird that you're locked out of your room. I'm sure security will get it open in an hour." And she's like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And meanwhile, while she's in Sheridan's quarters, he turns his back for a second, and next thing you know, she's naked. Yeah. Meanwhile, Ivanova appears through the various the holographic thing that they can do, and tells Sheridan what happened. Just barely not being seen by Julie. Meanwhile, other parts in the storyline, Garibaldi is confronted by Jakar during the episode about what's going on. Tell me what's up. We find out in a scene later that Julie has been her advances were rejected by the captain, and Zach kind of hits on her instead, and she rejects him. We then see a meeting that she's chairing with all the Night Watch types, talking about expanded powers and how we need to make Earth safe and quote ideologically pure. Okay, well, that sounds a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Zach has a little bit of a I don't know, conflict with Garibaldi, saying, "Hey, I don't know what's going on. I know that code is not a code." There seemed to be a little bit of a break in their relationship there, and at the end, the Julie has to leave because of what happens in the other thing where a certain video is released about
we'll get about that.
President Clark, which we'll get into that. All right, on the other side with the contact with the old ones, Ivanova goes down to the planet to contact Droll. She goes in there. He's kind of surprised that it's her instead of Sheridan, but they get through that, and she goes. Droll steps out of the machine, and she goes into the machine to follow the path of the old one. Somehow is connected with the machine. She feels around. She seems to find them. She gets concerned. They see her. She's barely able to escape. It seems, and she also sees a video of Clark which discussing this conspiracy and about how can't wait to see President Santiago dead. I will mention that Draw, when she comes out of the machine, Draw mentions that she saw this is the past and an echo of the past or something, and how a normal human mind should not be able to do that, which is interesting. After this point, Ivanova, as we mentioned before, Ivanova will tell Sheridan what's going on, and Sheridan will say, "Hey, you got to go out and meet these old ones. I can't get away from this Julie." Ivanova's on the White Star. She has the Ranger. Marcus is with her, and they seem to have a little conflict. I'm not sure what that's about. They seem to don't like each other or something. Meanwhile, they go over to planet Sigma 957, which is where Ivanova has where she's seen the old ones. The old ones arrive. They say the name Zog, which we seem to think is their name. She asks for help. They basically ignore her. And then she decides to try and upset them with the Vorlons. She insults and shames them, telling them, the Vorlons don't need you. They did it all themselves. You guys are losers compared to the Vorlons, basically.
Ego.
And that seems to make them mad. And they say they will be there when they call. So they basically promise to help them out at some point. Back on the station, the news about the assassination conspiracy is out. Somehow it gets released. Sheridan says he's going to give it to General Haig, and then they'll release it that way. We don't know how exactly it was done, but that seems to be the way. As I mentioned, it comes out. Garibaldi and Zach have their confrontation at this point and falling out. Sheridan and Ivanova discuss at the end of the episode the what's been happening. And, of course, the very last thing we see is, as I mentioned, Jakar and Garibaldi were talking. Garibaldi says, if you could help, I tell you. And Jakar says, well, maybe I can help. Here, let me give you this, the book. He gives the book of Jaquan to Garibaldi. And, hey, here, this will help you somehow. We don't know how, of course. Be interesting. Oh, one thing I missed earlier on in the episode. I mentioned that Jakar confronts Garibaldi. He also confronts Delin at the beginning of the episode, asking her what is going on. And she basically tells him nothing. He's very suspicious, and it's pretty obvious that Delin is lying from what she says in her facial expressions. So Jakar knows something's up. All right. That pretty much sums up the episode. Cam.
Okay. In terms of storylines, we've got the old ones storyline and the Night Watch storyline. I guess I'd say that the Night Watch storyline is probably the A plot, and the old ones is the B plot. But from the Night Watch storyline, we have a few branches. One being the Zach and Garibaldi interaction, and then you have the Garibaldi. I should say the Jakar with Garibaldi and Delenn interaction. So the kind of the conspiracy sub B plot going on. Does everybody agree with that? Or Jason, sometimes you have different views on the different plot lines. You got anybody?
I would thought that it would be reversed, that the old ones is the main plot, but
that sounds about right in terms of which plots there are. To me, the A plot of the episode is the political officer. Yeah, I think, and the B. If you want to do a B plot, but the B plot in this particular one seems to have as much weight as the A. It's not a secondary sideline plot, because it's still integral to the overall season arc.
Yeah.
And there are some intersection points between the two that kind of holds them together. They're still relatively independent of each other.
Yeah, I would. I agree with you that it's not a random B plot that's just about someone's mom or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're trying to conduct this covert type stuff. The whole let's keep everything hush hush until, it's need to know until we're ready. And while they're trying to build this coalition, and surprise, Earthdoms or Earth Force or whatever the hell they are called, they send in this Gestapo. I mean, whatever she is, she's obviously a honey trap.
She's a political officer. What are you talking about? She's there to help.
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah.
man.
Fing Fing. Fing
Why
Fing.
so
Fang-
cynical? Why so cynical?
Fang- What was Swallow's girlfriend's name? Fang.
Yeah, yeah, but she was more than that. They were literally trying to get him in a position where, I mean, it's clear
Okay.
throughout the whole episode, and we'll get to that, I'm sure,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some point.
Well, let's jump into that. Let's deal with the Night Watch branch here. So we've had several people from Night Watch come in, and as you recall, we saw the original guy that was kind of soft soaping it. When they first started Night Watch, and then we had the guy that came with the Night Watch guy that came with the Ministry of Peace guy that was doing the deal with the Centauri, or between Earth and the Centauri.
Yeah.
And he tried to recruit Ivanova, right? So they're trying to undercut the command staff here, or infiltrate the command staff. And then we've seen that they had done that, because there was informants, people that were basically ignoring the chain of command and telling Night Watch what was going on, which was part of that episode. And now in this one again, we of course
likely the junior officers. I think that girl. There's this girl with dark hair, and she they were talking in the back, and she was kind of looking around suspiciously. So I think she's the. It's not the blonde-haired young lieutenant.
Are you talking about Corwin?
The guy. Oh, the one that's feeding information out. Yeah, but of course,
the one who Ivanova's always. He's always trying to avoid getting on her bad list.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
But,
go ahead, Kevin.
Sure. Well, okay. So then now we have someone who's, I'll just set it up and you guys can discuss what you think about it. So, what's her name? Miss Gazante? I think that was it.
Misanti. It starts with an M.
Misanti.
Yeah.
Miss
Musant.
Julie
Misanti.
Misanti.
Okay. Misanti.
Julie
Okay.
Misanti.
Okay, so she gets sent here, and she claims that she is empowered by the Senate Oversight Committee that oversees Babylon 5, and then, okay, Snuggie is okay. Good job, Snuggie. You've thrown me off track. Thank you very much.
You have your armband?
No, I don't. Not for anything. So they and she comes in and kind of Zach meets her. Okay, first of all, what I was gonna say is, so Zach is really our view into Night Watch, kind of the man on the ground, what's going on with that. And we see that come up in this. But so he, meets with her, or escorts her to, see Sarah and everything. And
well, he offers to, and she's like, "Oh, I studied all the plans for Babylon 5. I know exactly where I'm going." It's clear that she's got a specific target. She's got orders.
Yeah. Well, we see that come up later. But anyway, so she kind of comes in and, presents how it's going to be from her perspective. And Sheridan reacts very badly to that. He tells Zach to take a walk, and so he could speak freely. So, Jeff, you want to talk about that scene, with the scene in the office with her and Sheridan?
Yeah, he kind of points out, and she's like, "Yes, I read the regs." And she's kind of a very much Miss Know-it-all completely, And she's like, "Well, if you can please point out the paragraph to me, I'd be happy." Of course, we've seen this before, where, of course, Sheridan's predecessor pulled that stuff, but he's pulled, Sheridan himself has pulled some of these things, pulling a rabbit out of his hat. She's obviously trying to say, yes, well, the letter of the law is this, but we have to do what's best for the purity of the human. I mean, it comes off very thick.
Well, the thing is with her is she's like playing good cop and bad cop. She's like she pushes and then she's like, "Oh no, I'm just here to help," which I'm not sure is working that well.
But her and Sheridan kind of get into it because he's like, first of all, he knows that she's from Night Watch because she specifically says, she is from the Night Watch division of the Ministry of Peace.
Right. And I mean, they're not hiding it here either, right? This is classic commissar,
it's blatant.
I mean, political officer, right? I mean, it's literally, but she's like, oh no, you see, I'm just here to advise so you avoid these embarrassing situations.
I had some flashbacks watching this whole episode of just a few years ago.
Yeah. Well,
just this year.
Yeah.
She's you have the Aryan archetype too, the phenotype with the blonde, blue-eyed.
Yes, I noticed that too. I mean,
I'm looking at this. I'm listening to her lay out all of this stuff, and I looked over at Minnie and said, "She sounds like a Democrat." She actually this is what the modern day Democrat Party sounds like. This is what the Marxists that are in charge of the party and they're running everything.
Extremists, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, this was written in what year? We haven't learned anything.
Okay, but this is exactly I understand what you're saying, but that's exactly what people with different views would accuse their opponents of. Sure. I mean, but that's why this is a good show, right? Because it's showing these kinds of historical things, and what a viewer's taking from it is, we say this all the time on this show, right? Is this is not a show that is saying this is what you need to believe, right? It's pointing out this kind of behavior in this case, which is political interference and that kind of thing, and obviously, this. Babylon 5 clearly makes many references to Nazi Germany, right? I mean, it parallels a lot of this stuff. Again, this is Gestapo kind of stuff.
A lot of references to not just them, but the Russians,
well, sure, yeah, because authoritarian political movements are very similar to each other, right? Doesn't matter what side they claim to be on. It's that behavior that kind of defines them. And again, bearing in mind, this is long before any of current day stuff, because this is, things like this have happened through history. But
I would say that there's there's obviously the Nazi, we've mentioned it before. This is the political officer is very much a Soviet Union thing, and it's perfectly, it's well in line with that.
Every time I heard the words political officer, I went straight to The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, right. That's a classic. You're right. It's a classic Soviet kind of thing, or East German, post-war.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's all I'm saying.
But well, anyway, so they have this interaction, and the thing. Okay, so I guess I'm jumping ahead a little bit. They talk about going to dinner, which they do, and Sheridan's challenging her on, what about these problems we have at home? And the thing that I found most telling in regards to today is she just says, oh no, we don't have that, and blah blah blah, and but then she openly admits, it's like, yeah, it's easy to get rid of these problems when you just redefine the dictionary.
I'm like, oh my god.
They did the thing, they said it out loud.
Well,
yeah, so let me just
does she know what a woman is?
So that's what Outport Nerd says. She's totally brainwashed to toe the party line. I disagree because of this very scene here where she lets the mask slip for a second and basically says, "Hey, I know this is all baloney."
Yes, she's worse than ideologue, right?
Deliberately.
May I offer?
She's working. She's doing her thing. She's towing the party line, but she's not brainwashed into it.
Yeah. And may I offer my congratulations to Outpost Nerd for spelling toe properly in that particular phrase.
Excellent.
Because a lot of people spell it T-O-W. I was like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, it's about
Outpost Nerd got it right.
Literally putting your toe on a line.
That's right.
It's all about the spelling here.
It is grammar. Grammar
and spelling
counts.
and
Jason
pronunciation.
is the show's editor.
I am the grammar Nazi.
Cam, let me say that you've kind of moved on from it, but I thought the scene between her and Sheridan initially in his office was excellent. He acted very typically what you'd act, gets his back up and starts yelling whatever. But she is very, very good at just snaking her way through that.
Yes.
All of his things, she's just like, oh no, I'm just here to advise. Oh well, but what about this? Oh no, of course. Yes, of course you're right, Captain. I thought she did a very good portrayal of a quite a good operative for that kind of stuff.
Well, he brought up the lurkers, right? And that's kind of what triggered that whole conversation. He's like, well,
that was at dinner. Lurkers. That's at dinner.
Yeah, well. Was it?
Well, I think he mentioned lurkers to begin with.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah,
but it did come up later at dinner with.
And then later, that's when the whole conversation that came about what about the homeless? Oh, we don't have homeless people. We have displaced persons.
Well, did you also notice it's like everybody's guaranteed a job, right? That sounds a little
sounds like unhoused persons almost to me, but
and now, so again, this is not a
I think the great thing about it is you can apply it any which way you want to any kind of extreme political control.
Well, yeah, yes.
You know what I mean, and I mean it fits. I mean, you could say the same thing about McCarthyism, and the all the hearings that they had, and back in Hollywood in the 50s, and
the sure thing is that authoritarianism and lies go together, right? and
oh yeah,
and that's and so sorry to get back to Jason's point. I'm sorry, I forgot who said it. Based on Outpost Nerd's comment, that she knows she's lying, but she is still promoting the party line. She is a cheerleader for this regime, the Clark's regime, and she doesn't care that she's lying. It's just like
a believer.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Well, she's a believer.
I guess she has certainly picked her side and she's going with it. But like you said, she does reveal that she knows it's a lie.
Oh yeah. Despite she knows the facts, but she still is firmly, in on that side, regardless of what the facts present. And clearly we find that out. She is willing to do anything. Literally, going where everyone's gone before.
Yeah,
she's a true believer. Yeah.
Are we getting towards that? Cam, is that where you're taking us?
I'm sorry. Towards what?
Well, he's
okay. Going where everyone's gone before.
Okay. So obviously you have this scene where she decides. She's tried to sweet talk him. She's buttering him up at dinner and everything. So you're so impressive and blah 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 blah. In between her, testing him on how far she can manipulate him and so on and so forth. Right. Then she goes for the classic manipulation, if you will. Mm-hmm. Very blatantly. Anybody want to talk about that?
Yeah.
I don't.
So she, he turns around and then next thing you know, she comes walking out. She goes excuses herself to the restroom. First of all, she's talking about how big, his quarters are comparatively, and of course he was kind of goes off on the whole. Yeah, they try to make me pay more for it, and well, everybody has to pull their weight. Everybody has to pay their fair share, and at any rate, so. She's doing this sweet talk, but still spewing out the empty lines, that the hollow lines.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't seem to work, turning her charms on any other way, she decides, well, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound, right? I'm going all in. We're gonna So
Well, it brings up an interesting question: was this the plan all? Because again, remember we saw Night Watch try to infiltrate and get their claws into Ivanova, by promising her
Right.
promotions and such.
Right.
I'm sure they know exactly that Sheridan had a wife who was killed, and and it's like, well, okay, here's an angle we got. I mean, was she sent specifically for that reason?
I think
think
so.
so.
I think that was completely the plan. I mean, it's all part of the plan, right? If you need to do, if Sheridan's going to just roll over and do whatever she says, she wouldn't bother, or maybe she would.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that that was her plan from the beginning, and I think you can tell by it's obvious that Zach, for example, Zach is kind of in the middle of the episode, he's kind of hitting on her. He's like, "Oh, how'd it go? Oh, well, makes it
He's a puppy dog. He'll take anything.
Makes it it known that he's interested in her. But what does she do? She turns like she's
Slaps
got him.
down.
She's got him.
Right.
He's already working for her.
Yep.
She doesn't need him, and she just turns him down right off the bat. Oh yeah, whatever. Your jacket looks horrible. And just
Well, and which is ironic because he was bitching about that at the very beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
That was the very first scene.
So my point being is that it's obvious that she's not just interested because she's
right. It's a weapon she had.
It's been a long time, and it's a long trip from Earth or something. No, it's completely a weapon that she's intends to use to get her objective. And Zach is not her objective. He's not important to her. It's for Sheridan because he is the key. So yeah.
Well, Jason,
that makes it obvious.
What's your view on that, Jason? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, I mean, she's obviously, here's my bag of tricks. I'm going to use everything. And you see, it's an escalation from their very first conversation, where she's basically saying, "Well, I'm here to help. I'm here to advise." She gets pushed back, and she's like, "Okay, well, now I'm going to switch. I'm going to change angles of approach here." And it's like, "No, I'm just here. I'm just here to help. I'm here to give you another perspective. I'm here to do that." And he's still pushing back on her. And so now she's figuring, okay, well, I'm gonna have to amp it up just a little bit. And by the time we get to the point where she's got her clothes off, I'm wondering if she's trying to what the thinking is there on how she's trying to manipulate him at the moment, because he hasn't shown any indication up until that point that he's remotely interested or receptive or open to the idea of sleeping with her. And she does.
Yeah,
this.
but
I'm thinking, okay, is she trying to entrap him possibly? Or is she so sure of herself, so full of herself in her high-mindedness, that she thinks he's just going to roll over and sure, let's jump in bed. I mean, he's not Jim Kirk.
Yes, maybe a little of both.
I think
yes. I think yes is both.
You're right, Jason. She was extremely arrogant, this very off-putting attitude. But I think everyone could probably agree that kind of reaction would not be unheard of, right? Meaning from Sheridan. If he's just like, okay, let's go that route. I mean, it would work on a high percentage of people.
See, I don't know that. Well, yeah, but if she's got all of this information that she's downloaded into her head, I would expect that some of that would also include psych profiles of all the command staff. Mm-hmm. So she would know that this kind of thing is not going to work with John Sheridan.
Well, but
I don't know. It just struck me as we got there too fast.
She's cocky.
I agree. It was kind of a little out of place to be going that quick when she had other avenues to go. But who knows? Maybe she was like, "Hey, he's a handsome captain guy." I don't know. We don't know.
I kind of made the assumption that perhaps she's been ordered to do this.
Yes.
So even though her superiors have said, "Hey, you're going to go there and you're going to try to honey trap him," and even if she's thinking to herself, "Doesn't look like this is going to work," she's like, "But I got to try it. Otherwise, got to do whatever for the cause."
Yeah. Well,
it's just, I mean, she's going to pay the price. I mean, we know what the kind of government the Earth's government is becoming. She's going to follow orders because
there was one other thing that I neglected to mention, and that is after this initial meeting, Zach says, "Oh, how'd it go?" And she's like, "Oh, great. He's a patriot or something." And then she's like, "But you're going to spy on him for me." Right. I mean, remember that when she was talking to Zach right after that? So it's like, she's not being fooled either. Right. We see her two-faced nature a lot, throughout this, but,
yeah, and that you bring up a point maybe about Zach, which we might want to touch on, because you see kind of a range of behaviors that he exhibits throughout the episode.
Well, let's talk about that with Garibaldi, because this is important. This is an important Zach episode. But did you have anything in particular to with her that you wanted to mention right now?
I mean, I think we covered it, all the way up to the point at the very end, which is why I said maybe we'll talk about that in the Zach side.
Well, let me add something. I found very interesting the fact that I think it's when they're at dinner and they're talking back and forth, and one of the comments she makes is she says, "I'm here to help you, Captain. Blah blah blah. I'd hate for anyone to use your honesty." Your honesty, your your honesty and your something else against you. Your honesty and your attitude, or your something like that against you. I'm sure Madman will correct me. She's got the
she was laying it on thick with him.
Yeah, but how could someone use their honesty against you? That's
nice. It's a nice space station. You
got shame if you lost it.
Yeah.
No, but it just struck me like, okay, use your honesty and your good nature, and how could people use that against me? I'm a good guy.
Well, I think
it's a very a bit Orwellian
in terms of but in terms of the entire situation with Sheridan is got to go back to the beginning of season 2 when he first arrived. He was seen as a yes sir, kind of toe the line, military guy, right? Where he would play ball and he would do as he's told. That was his reputation.
That's why they picked him.
Exactly.
Clark picked him, not the
right.
Murray.
And now, because of these other things have happened in his, their leanings is, I'm sure that they're like, well, is this guy, do we need to get rid of this guy? And
I think it's the paranoia of what's happened with, with Earth Dome and in general. They've gotten away so far with this stuff. At some point, you got to start questioning about your useful idiots and whether or not it's time to get rid of them.
Well, yeah, and that's also the nature of a paranoid authoritarian regime is they're always scared of everybody. So we know that General Haig was mentioned in this episode. That's who they gave the information through. Is he's been covering for them here, right, in the things that are doing. So but there undoubtedly there's this maneuvering going on back on Earth. For all of their, all of these Earth holdings, and this Babylon 5 is just one of them. And
although she did put down the Mars people,
right? She did mention, admitted that the Marsies are still a problem. But so I don't know that they know exactly what is up with Sheridan. I think, but by this time, I think they have strong enough reason that they're suspecting that he might not be that stereotype that they initially thought he was.
Yeah,
so they're
I think that's very obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're teeing
they're teeing him up.
Yeah.
She's there to check on him, to find out one way or the other, to entrap him if she can, set other things up. She's got a bunch of little projects.
And push the official view of Earthdom that we want to present.
Getting information from Zach is just another way to check on Sheridan to see if he's on the up and up. But I'm pretty sure she suspects him already. I think he's obviously been suspected by Earthdome because of the things that she says.
But I don't think they know. I think my guess is that they don't know his motivation at this point. They don't. Right. Again, having the reputation of being following orders, guys like, oh yeah, he's out here doing this job and he's not paying attention to really what's going on here, and he's just doing this or that. But they're not liking the results of what he's doing.
Well, he's proving to be a maverick,
right?
And he's not going to just be the guy who just blindly follows orders, yeah, he's gonna push back a little bit.
Right,
And
but
giving sanctuary to Jakar and the other Narns that are on there on board.
But you see, everything
and
he's done hasn't been like overtly against them. You know, they could easily say, yeah, we don't like what he's doing, but he hasn't necessarily given them a reason for them to think he's doing it out of disloyalty to them. And I think that's because if they did, they just replace him. They would just go, he's gone. You know, just get rid of him. So
well, and everything that he's done has technically been legal and okay, and you know,
right.
he's playing true neutral. He's playing the neutrality.
Yeah,
the official. What he was charged with. This is a place of neutrality. We have to maintain that under all situations.
Well,
that's what he was. You know,
and they've also acknowledged that he has done things correctly technically, right? You know, I mean, she said that. It's like, yeah, we understand, you know, that was the right thing to do, but you know, we want to manipulate it to our ends, you know.
We don't want to upset the Centauri because we might.
You're technically doing it right, but you're doing it in a way that offends people. We need to be a little bit more diplomatic.
Yeah.
And in her case, you know, she's saying that, but really what she means is serving their nefarious purposes. You know, I mean, they have their propaganda operation that they are actively pursuing for their own purposes. And of course we find out a little bit about that. And that's really what it's about. It's really about internal Earth things more than not. But okay, I'm sorry. Anybody have anything on that particular thing? Otherwise, we can kind of start to cover the. I think we go to the old ones thing a little bit because they kind of cross over, and then back to this maybe. Good. Okay. So now Sheridan's gotten tied up by this, you know, as he mentions, you know, Earth, whatever, landed on his back. So, you know, he gets Ivanova to, well, I'm sorry. I guess we should start first. The War Council meeting where Drawl shows up and they're discussing the first ones, as you mentioned. And then Drawl invites Sheridan down to the planet to discuss this. I'm not sure. I guess they were going to use the machine. That was the whole idea. So instead, Ivanova gets sent down there. She goes in his place. Drawl initially is perturbed by that, but then, you know, discovers he likes Ivanova's the cut of her jib. And
can we talk about that a little?
Sure.
Yeah.
Did anybody think that was? I mean, I wasn't quite. Was that just trying to show us a little bit about Ivanova? You know, he gets kind of angry at the start, and she kind of tap dances around a little bit, you know, and wins him over. But is that
he's testing her?
Yes,
he's clearly kind of just saying, okay, let's see what she's made out of.
Yeah, is she fit to actually be here?
If I come a little angry at her, see how she reacts.
Well, yeah. And that's kind of strange for Ivanova, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know, she dances around and does her thing, and then, you know, the fact that he just completely breaks and starts laughing, he's like, I like you. It's clearly a test.
Yeah. But Ivanova usually is very hard ass, right? She, you know, it's like she doesn't take a lot of crap, but this isn't someone she has authority over. So she's playing it differently, right? You know,
well,
he's more powerful.
He's also tied into this giant, massive, you know, superpower alien machine too. Yeah. So, you know, what is he capable of?
Right.
We got that go through her head too.
Yeah. So I actually think that's a good portrayal of Ivanova, that she's not just a loudmouth idiot, you know, that is just aggressive all the time. You know, that's just, I don't like characters like that.
I think it also speaks to her character building, you know, that Sheridan has put her in charge of all this diplomatic stuff throughout his tenure now, right? So she's been increasingly the one handling the diplomatic affairs that are, you know, and that's, I think, given her the ability to try and figure out how to tap dance, if you will, you know, she, because I think, if this had happened, you know, earlier on, she might not have been ready. She may have just come off and said, fine, I'll just leave, and, you know, whatever, or done something like she, you know, like with her attitude in the first season. So I think that's kind of almost implied that she has gone through this process
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So down there, then he basically invites her to use the machine, which to me, I have to admit, it was like, that's a little weird. You're just going to plug someone in there and hope for the best. It's like, why did why did any of the humans have to be doing it? Why couldn't he been making this contact? I didn't understand that, but that was what the story was, is Ivanova used the machine to reach out, and he didn't know she was a telepath or a latent telepath or anything, right?
Which
No, he
that
doesn't.
subject did not directly come up,
Right.
but they kind of mention interesting. A human shouldn't be able to do that,
Right.
Yeah.
So she does. She uses the machine, and she sector 957, I think it was, right?
Sigma
Sigma
975.
That's
Sigma
right.
957.
Yeah. And so she has this encounter with the shadows, and she's able to escape, because they, like, she was narrating this, it's like, oh, they know, they see me, they know who I am, kind of thing, which is, that's telling us a little information about this too, that they have this ability to look into someone's mind, apparently.
Okay, let me ask: is that confirmed that she was? It wasn't clear to me that she was when she was at Sigma, she was contacting the shadows, or she was contacting what we find out to be the Zog.
I think
it was
the shadows.
It was definitely the shadows,
and then she got away from them, and then the Zog guys. Okay.
Yeah. She went down the wrong path there. And again, they didn't really explain that too much, but it was, you could see the images and things like their eyes or whatever. That was, and you could hear the chirping or whatever they do.
Yes.
Anyway, so then, she encounters this other race. Who wants to talk about that? Jason, you want to talk about that?
The first ones.
Yes.
Yeah. I like the design of the ship. It gave me Close Encounters vibes.
Yeah.
Where you have this alien race, this extraterrestrial race that doesn't resemble humans at all. Yeah, because it's always a humanoid with an appliance on their nose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got something that's definitely different. I like the fact that they don't speak English like every other alien race that we encounter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure Ivanova's approach to convincing them to help them was smart. That could have backfired pretty spectacularly. I mean, given the fact that it's Ivanova and plot needs it to happen, it didn't surprise me they agreed. I just thought it was kind of funny for her to go that route in negotiating, because, like you said, she's been handed over all of these diplomatic responsibilities and duties, and every time we see her doing any kind of diplomatic stuff, she's always just kind of in your face with a smackdown. I'm like, that's not diplomacy, but okay, I guess it works.
Yeah. I didn't like that.
You didn't like the way that she handled it?
Not at all. I think it was, there's certain things that don't work for me, and that kind of cutesy, stuff. I really just don't like.
I mean, she played into ego, which clearly even a higher evolved being still has some sort of ego.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. That's the angle they were going for.
At the same time, the biggest thing that the biggest thing that I ever have is a challenge for me when you're encountering alien races, or when you're encountering any kind of alien non-human race, is the anthropomorphism, where we assign human emotions and motivations to aliens who probably don't think the same way we do, probably don't have the same priorities we do. And to Cam's point, appealing to ego, who's to say the psychology of this alien race would even allow, that would even have that they even have an ego? I mean, sure, it's
I think it's
narrative,
universal, but that's
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I kind of agree with Cam and Jason. It seemed a little bit like, I'm an old race. I've been around for millions of years. You'd think I'd be, beyond these petty things like, oh yeah, Bob said you suck, so that should help, convince you to help me. Like it was a little bit. I mean, maybe it might work. Maybe there's there's nothing I know about the old ones, the Vorlons, and all these other races that maybe they're very competitive. Maybe that would work, but it did seem a little bit lowbrow. That it probably wouldn't even work with many humans, right? Like us, unevolved types who are much lower on the evolutionary ladder. That still wouldn't work with you. Oh yeah, well Bob said you suck and you're scared to do it. Okay, I'll do it then. Like a little bit there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, they did kind of hint that they might have some jealousy of the Vorlons because their response, which was not in English, but the one word that they did say that we know was Vorlon, and and the tone of it was said in such a manner that it conveyed they're not fans of the Vorlons themselves, So I think maybe that's the inference that she picked up on, that, well, wait a second, they kind of didn't really like the Vorlons. So
They reacted really strongly to that, and I like the fact that they're sitting there going, I don't know what they just said. I don't understand their language. Was that a yes? What Vogue? Is Vogue no? Is Vogue yes? What's happening here? It's not an instant, immediate, we understand each other thing. I think probably the other possible approach that Ivanova could have taken instead of appealing to the ego is the enemy of my enemy type of thing, right? Because you don't like the Vorlons, they don't like you, but at the same time, we got this bigger problem that's coming, and y'all have to decide. You got to get along in order for us to get this problem solved.
right.
I think that probably would have been a more diplomatic approach, possibly,
Maybe.
but it wouldn't have been as fun playing out the scene.
Probably not. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys liked it. You thought that was a fun little interaction.
It was okay. I mean, she was pensive about it. She was kind of like, yeah, are you sure this is going to work? No.
That's a good point. I did agree when Marcus is like, he's kind of like, and she's like, I know, meaning she was aware that this was a gamble. I did like that.
I didn't like it so much. I just sort of, it seemed a little unrealistic, but I think I just sort of said, hey, this is how they're going to go. I'm going to, suspend my disbelief and just let it happen.
Well, yeah, I think that's what,
because I see where they want to go with it. But
but I don't know. I think you're undercutting something. Again, these are first ones. These are supposed to be extremely advanced, beings, and they're going to fall for a schoolyard taunt. I mean,
exactly.
Jason was saying, it's like, well, maybe they're just not to us, it's a schoolyard taunt, right? And projecting our humanity on them. And maybe for some reason that triggers them. But then again, she would have no reason to expect that would work, so.
My assumption was that she just sort of said, hey, we need these guys' help. I can do this or I can do something else. I'm just going to go with this and see what happens.
Okay, but
we don't have much to lose.
Ask this question.
Not much to lose. But
she is on their strongest resource they have right now, the White Star. And with one of the Rangers and this, and instead of just going, okay, well, I guess that one didn't work, I'm going to move on. She decides to, again, they made a point of saying that this could very easily be deadly. And she decided to throw caution to the wind there. I think it was bordering on moronic. If we really were to analyze that, whether that was a good move or not. This wasn't like, oh, we need these particular guys. This is our last chance. I got to do something. You know,
Mhm.
that wasn't what they set up. So I think this was a
maybe,
poor portrayal.
maybe she's thinking about what the last Night Watch guy said in about her career, so she figures she better hitch that wagon to Sheridan and go all the way. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's a little, yes.
Yeah, I'm being a little nitpicky about it. I understand,
but I totally agree. If there's thousands, they imply that there's thousands of old ones that they like. That's what they're saying. Oh, there's thousands of groups thousands of old ones they could contact. Then why not just say, hey, this one didn't work. Let's go, to option number 2 of 1,000.
Well, because they also established that out of all of those, one, they don't know how many of them stuck around, and two, they don't have any guarantee that any of them will agree to help because they're on a different plane of existence. They have different sensibilities, different morality, different motivations, and whatnot. And they could. What was one of them said? They could crush you like a fly and not even realize they did it. And so if you get, for every single one that you get that says yes, that's one that you have to approach this as if none of them are going to say yes, because none of them need to. And so you can't just casually sit there and go, oh well, if we don't get a yes on this one, we'll go on to the next one, because otherwise you get to that point and then you don't get any of them, and then what do you do?
Well, I would agree with that.
You didn't fight hard enough, strong enough, fast enough, long enough for that one, because every one that you get makes it easier to get the next one. Because you're building a coalition now. It's like, well, we've got the Vorlons. Oh well, okay, now we've got this group. We've got the Vogue, whatever they're called. So now, 3 weeks from now, when you're negotiating with the next batch, well, we have the Vorlons and we have the Vogue. We need you guys to, balance this out. It makes it easier to build a coalition when you've already got people in that group.
Yeah, it just seems risky that you have potentially 1,000 of them to do, and you've picked this one. I mean, this group, I mean, not quite at random, but you've picked this first one and then say, oh, well, we got to get this guy or else, like they could have lost everything. When you say, all right, we didn't get this guy, maybe we'll get the next one. It's a little more cautious, but, I mean, you have a point, Jason, with what you're saying. But
I mean, if you might not get any more,
Yeah. If they blow up the ship, you're definitely not going to get it. They blow up the White Star and kill Ivanova.
I think the White Star having Minbari and Vorlon technology, I'm sure they picked up on that right away.
Well, and the fact that there's humans among the Minbari crew, probably adds to that as well. And the
Minbari were the young ones that fought alongside them in the previous war, right? So they there's at least something to say for it, I guess.
Well, but that brings it back again to why wouldn't Drawl have been the one to contact them as a Minbari? And
he can't leave the machine though.
And it was in the machine. It was in the machine that he was contacted. That they were. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the initial. I'm sorry. I'm mixing that up.
Talking about when
the initial contact. I'm talking
when the shadows were watching her and stuff that. And
I guess that's true. You're right.
So because they made it a point to, and maybe this was just thrown in there to justify the fact that they had to go on this away mission, if you will. But he did say that it had to be done in person.
Okay, then why not Delenn?
Must be found personally. Must be,
Why not Delenn?
Why not Delenn?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Clearly, there was some reason why she wasn't in this episode.
Well, she was. She was at the meeting.
Well, yeah, but she was preoccupied with something. There was some excuse kind of just thrown up, which maybe was a little weak. That she wasn't able to, because even Ivanova asked where what's his name, Lanier was, and he was unavailable. So
yeah, okay. Well, you guys want to touch on anything with Marcus and Ivanova? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm kind of. mean, maybe I don't understand, but why does she hate Marcus so much?
Good
Like,
question.
She just doesn't like the guy. Like, did I miss something earlier?
Well, she does have a bit of a tendency to not. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't seem to warm up to people that easily.
Yeah.
Well, plus he's outside of the chain of command.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he hasn't earned her
That makes him
respect.
unpredictable.
Yeah.
No, she's not. He's an unknown quantity at this point, really. I mean, who is he? Who is this? What's this Ranger stuff? They're still figuring that part out and understanding where this organization fits within the hierarchy of their coalition of people that are going to be fighting the shadows. So he's an unpredictable factor for her.
Quantity.
I know. It just still seems. Oh, here's a new ally.
She can't give him orders.
Let me call this guy down.
Technically, she can't give him orders. So well. I mean, she kind of can, but again, he's outside the chain of command. He's not officially anybody, really.
I mean, technically, Sheridan can give him orders.
Yeah, Sheridan Delenn can.
Yeah,
but again, Sheridan and Delenn run the Rangers.
But he's not part of. But he's not part of the military hierarchy.
Right.
Yeah.
So if he goes off and does something because Sheridan told him to, or Ivanova told him to, and it backfires, and Earth government finds out, say, well, what did you send this guy for? Who is he? And so he's this X factor, and he's the itch she can't scratch because she can't control him.
Yeah. Well, and he also comes off a little arrogant and cocky.
Yeah.
At least that's my read on him.
I don't know. He seems very on the ship. He seems like he's trying to make nice with her.
Yeah, I would say he had a little bit of aloofness, but I don't think he's cocky necessarily.
Yeah, I agree with Cam.
I don't know. Well, I did spend a year on Minbar, but he just come off a little cocky to me, a little arrogant.
I think this is more of a comment on her character, on how she reacts. Like Jason said, she doesn't know him. She's not in the chain of command. I think that's more of her character, because Sheridan's not like this with these guys. Like, no one else is giving them a hard time. I mean, they're risking life and limb. They're basically the spies for the conspiracy. They're risking life and limb, to find this stuff out and do these secret missions.
Now, to be totally fair, I'm not sure I like him yet either. I kind of,
yeah.
He has not grown on me yet, and I've seen him now in 2 episodes, 3 episodes.
Well, it doesn't help that our first introduction to him was a terribly choreographed fight scene. The other aspect,
he's carrying that baggage.
I know, right?
Jason hates him because of that.
The other aspect to this is, and this probably is not a factor, but what if Ivanova sees him as somebody who has usurped the position that hotshot pilot had?
Keffer.
Keffer, in the overall structure of things. Maybe she sees him as and sees the Ranger guy as Marcus as a reminder that Keffer's dead. There's nothing to suggest that, but the friction's got to come from somewhere, and they haven't explained that yet.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not coming from him, because he's trying to make nice with her.
Yeah.
I think it's just an aspect of her personality that Straczynski is showing by her treatment of him, because no one else treats him that way. But anyway.
Okay, how about we talk about the couple of other personal interactions we have? We've got G'Kar and Garibaldi, G'Kar and Delenn, and then Zach and Garibaldi. Let's. You guys good with that? You wanna talk?
Yeah, because we should probably do Zach and Garibaldi last, because we're gonna go into the other stuff.
Let's do G'Kar and Garibaldi, where G'Kar basically, he basically comes out and says, I know something's going on, and I want to know about it. And Garibaldi kind of blatantly brushes him off, and then G'Kar gets angry. Snob, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I was gonna suggest we sort of talk about G'Kar overall,
That's fine if you want to do that.
With Delenn first, maybe.
In general, I mean, it's obvious Jakar knows something's up, and
Yes.
he's trying to suss out what's up. And he's got a pretty good idea that there are forces gathering. He kind of says so to Delenn. I like the one with Delenn the best because it seemed obvious to me that Delenn was hiding something, and I think Jakar would have, based on her expressions and what she had said, she didn't deny anything. It would be obvious to Jakar that he's hit the nail on the head. He knows exactly that something's going on between the Mimbar and some of the Earth forces, and they've got something going on. And he wants in. I thought this was a great way to show Jakar's how smart he is, moving around, and he's working hard to try to find out what's going on and get help for his homeworld. And also, it's a good way to, I'm assuming that eventually that the Narn are going to be brought into this conspiracy. I think it's a good. Yeah. Instead of just going out. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but instead of just going out and saying, "Hey, the Narn are now part of us," they're building up to it, and I appreciate that they're going in steps, and the conspiracy is a little bit. They're not. Hey, we don't know for sure. We haven't decided as a group. That's what I see. What Garibaldi was saying. He's like, I would, if I knew something, I would tell you. Well, he does know something, and he does have something that could help him. But, Sheridan hasn't given the word yet. He can't go out and just.
That's not exactly what Garibaldi says. He says, if I knew something that would help you, I would tell you.
And that's true.
He qualifies it that way. I don't have anything that would help you right now. And with Delenn's interaction, the other aspect of this, Jakar no longer has any legal standing. He has no longer, doesn't have the diplomatic, all of the diplomatic power and the resources behind that. He's just a citizen now, and it's probably one of those things where part of it is need to know, but also part of it is maybe we're in some way she's in some way trying to protect Jakar, because he's the one that started the whole ball rolling in the first place, that we all have to work together in order to fight the shadows. We've all got to link up and sing Kumbaya before these guys start rolling in, or otherwise we've had it. And now all of that
should be the first guy to be brought in.
Well, you would think, but at the same time, his status as an ambassador has changed. And so having him as a member of this coalition doesn't do the coalition any good at this point, because he doesn't have any he doesn't have any official standing, but two, the influence that he does have over the resistance is not strong enough for him to be an ally that would bring anything to the table.
That's not exactly
true,
because
he's the leader of the resistance so far.
He is the leader of the resistance, but I'm saying is that movement is not powerful enough in and of itself to change how the Narn, how the Narns are, in order for them to come on board with this thing to fight the shadows. He can't exert that kind of influence the way he could have when he was an ambassador.
But he does have the fundamental knowledge and documentation that we know, because we know this. We've seen it.
Which is why he gives the book to Garibaldi, because he can't make things happen on his own anymore the way he could. That's what I'm saying, is his available resources and his influence, his knowledge is not, is not. Now, I'm not questioning what he knows. I'm questioning, there's now a limit on what he can do with that, because his position of authority has changed.
Sure.
I think Jason has a good point. There's no point in bringing, this is a conspiracy. There's no point in bringing people in the conspiracy who can't, even if he will be able to in the future, do something, that's when you bring him in. If you can't do anything for it now, there's no point in making it bigger and, increasing the chance of getting caught and more leaks and that stuff if he's not going to be useful.
But by the same token, by keeping him out, his investigation into what's going on, his curiosity could expose the group as a whole too. and I think that they need to take that into account because he is very good at getting information.
Well, and
Clearly.
I think you can see that on Delenn's face when she hesitates, and he says, I'm gonna be looking into this." She's just like, he's gonna find something, but knock yourself out because
What
officially,
do you know about Rangers?
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
do anything. Yeah.
Well, there was another point where in a past episode where Jakar, before the Narn fell and he was looking for help, and he came to Delenn about that, and she said, you know, your own behavior in the past has made this difficult, essentially. I'm paraphrasing. And so he's still suffering from that, you know, that he did that. And I forgot I think it was with Garibaldi when, you know, when he said about helping, and he's like, no, there's something maybe I can help you. You know, it's like, so Jakar, he understood that when Delenn said it to him, and he understands his position now. He's really trying to play ball, you know. Before, when he would be a bit of a manipulator, he's not now. I think he's and he's trying to be as clear as he can. Even well, I shouldn't say he's not a manipulator, because he did try to manipulate Delenn a little bit there.
Yeah.
You know, I'd also like to know Delenn lied there. For the Minbari that don't lie, we have any number of lies.
they'll just say it's because of her.
She's only half Minbar.
Right. Oh, there you go.
She is now.
I will say that, you know, from the conspirators' perspective, they probably would. I mean, I'm like a lot of ifs, as Outpost Nerd said. I mean, from the, you know, Jakard's pretty smart. He's going to try to find out what's going on, but I don't think he's stupid enough to, you know, if once he finds out something, you know, he recognizes that, you know, this is gonna, like, he already has said that this is, you know, I can help and you can help me. So he's not going to be stupid enough to expose it. So there are some risks that he finds out, but he probably would keep his mouth shut.
I'm not worried about it.
And
I don't think
saying something. It's his poking and prodding that is going to possibly Zach could say something about it, you know, and then word could get back to, you know, that so on and so forth. You know, obviously he's talking about Rangers. What if Zach says, "What do you know about?" I heard Jakar talking about Rangers or something on the, you know, at the Zocalo, or, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's that his you know, the whole curiosity killed the cat. Well, in this case, curiosity could expose the group because he's tenacious. He's like a dog with a, you know, with a bone, trying to get this information, you know. And his motivations are pure. Obviously, he wants to help his people. So I don't blame him, but you know, that right there could turn around and, you know, create a problem for the what is it, the Army of Light? I think is that what they're called? So
I think so. Yeah.
Good point.
What I was going to say is, I think there's also something lingering, is that everyone's, I think, correct belief would be that Jakar will do whatever is good for the Narn, even if that meant betraying everyone else. You know, at this point, is what I'm saying, is if they had information and they shared it with him, and you know, and again, in the back of their minds maybe, and they're saying if he could betray us to save his own people, he would do it. And
true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, does anyone doubt that Jakar would do that at this point?
No, no, he totally would.
Yeah. So that's you know, that if they're thinking, they've got to have that in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I was leading to what Outpost mentioned. You know, yes, at the very end, you know, is towards the end of the episode, Zach, you know, does say about whatever the code was, R7 or something like that.
Yeah, 7R7.
Yeah.
He asks the political officer about it.
Yeah. Well, let's go to that interaction with Garibaldi and Zach, where Zach is, they're talking about this, and Garibaldi's got a face on, and Zach's like, what's the problem? And Garibaldi kind of lets him have it. Like, I can't trust you because the Night Watch thing. And Zach, I think this is an excellent moment for Zach, and well played by my God, I'm
Jeff
sorry.
Conaway.
Yeah, Jeff Conway. Is that he's like, you don't trust me. It's like, it's like you're gonna put this on. It's like you've not shown me any, any trust whatsoever. So I thought that it's like, man, that really rings true,
And the walking a tightrope
yeah.
aspect of it.
Right. And so it's like it's one of these things where they're both right, and that I thought that was a very powerful moment.
But it's done obviously not with ill intention. It's done
Right.
with the intention of being protection, for the group. I think the fascinating thing about Zach throughout this episode is you can see how torn he is between, the things that they are trying to push them to do. And we saw this at the end. Remember, at the end of the last season, right? Where suddenly the business was closed because of this or that or whatever. Um, this is kind of in the same thing. Well, but those are civilians, and yes, but eventually it's going to come to a point where everybody's going to have to toe the same line,
Right.
whether or not you're in the military or a civilian. Everybody's got to believe the same way we do. And it's just like, but yet he's still trying to be obligated to that, and and he does it. He plays it well throughout the whole episode, because you can see him. It's almost like he's going back and forth, almost like a boat that's on rough seas. He's kind of, so
yeah. So we got 23 people in the chat. Welcome, if you're new. Good to see you. Welcome. I was mentioning that I think that this is a bit of a mistake for Garibaldi. This is a lost chance where he could say to Zach, "Hey, listen, I can't tell you anything, or I can only tell you so much." But this could be a way to get him on his side. And hey, tell me what's going on with the Night Watch. I can only tell you this. I trust you. I'll give you more as I can. And he could start, turning him and getting information fed. What are they doing? What are they up to? What's going on? Even if he doesn't need that information, it would get Zach to trust him more and pull him into their side. And eventually, it could be more useful. But
I think Zach is malleable.
But Garibaldi's letting him and pushing him towards the other side.
I think you're right. He is. This confrontation between the two of them is, it's just, yeah. But like Apple says, mentioning anything at this point would be a mistake, right? Because it would go, if you say, well, there is a group that we're worried about this other thing and blah 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 that's bigger than Earthdom, and then of course Zach would be obligated to report it. He would feel, so I don't know.
Well,
but
my point is he could simply do exactly what Julie, the political officer, is trying to do to him, and just say, "Hey, listen, I can't tell you anymore, but I need to know what's up with them, and I'll give you as much as I can as go on. What are they up to? What are they doing?"
Make him a double agent without him knowing he's a double agent.
Well, he would know. He's like, "Oh, okay."
Look, I'm just
it's a risk. He could easily go. He could easily tell Julie that, "Well, yeah, Garibaldi asked me to tell him what you're up to." But
yeah, maybe cascade of authoritarianism. Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Cam, what else?
That's about all I've got. That's about all I've got.
Really?
What else you got?
Oh, let me see. Well, we kind of brushed over the big information where we've now caused a bunch of strife on Earthdom. Because in the process of Susan being in the machine, what did they get? They got some information and were able to record it and put it on a data crystal. The transmission between the vice president, the former vice president, now vice president, or now president, and saying how much he hated the president, and wanted to get. So they've got recorded proof, and then of course there was a moment where when Sheridan was back available and talking to Garibaldi. Garibaldi's like, well, yeah, but how do we know? And he's like, no, all of these messages are encoded with a certain unduplicatable type key or something like that, that should be able to verify the origins of it. So
yeah, each office or each staff member, something at some level, all of the communication stuff have time, I guess, some kind of a timestamp internal code that can't be changed. It's like an NFT or a blockchain code.
Yeah,
it can't be changed, can't be altered, and if it's there, it's less likely that the thing is fake.
well, and Madman's got a good point. And who was the voice talking to the president?
Yeah. So, anybody in the chat, if if we missed something important, bring it up in the chat. And I'm assuming, Madman, you're talking about the voice talking to Clark. I think we should. I mean, I know who that is. I mean, from watching the show, I think we should just say it. It's.
I mean, it sounds like Morden.
It's Morden.
Yeah,
it's Morden.
That's
so
why
I think that's important. We know that Morden. I mean, we know that Morden was involved because we see him with. In a couple episodes back when he comes in to that senator is talking, and the investigator leaves and Morden's there along with another guy from Psycor.
Right.
But Morden, now we know for sure that Morden was directly involved with Clark.
And we suspected this too.
But we know for sure he's with Clark. Clark's involved in the conspiracy from the beginning, and so is Morden. So that is a very interesting. I mean, it's something we assumed, but it's confirmation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the missing cast member. I get it. Yeah. Because he was in the show, but not in the show. Yeah, we don't actually see him; we just hear his voice. But clearly, now this information was given to General Haig, right? We presume. It wasn't said specifically, but that was, he was he did say he would reach out to General Haig, and I think much like the information of the mysterious probe. That Keffer had, his information was released. This kind of got released. Media drop.
So I guess we could note that the media at this point is not entirely compromised, right? Is that, again, without getting political, in the 90s, let's say, when there was a salacious story that came out, all the news media still covered it, right?
Right.
Whereas today, maybe that wouldn't be the case. Things are much more selectively chosen. But in Babylon 5, in this world, I mean, this is a bombshell, right? That they're openly saying, there's a report. And honestly, I'm not sure I believe that. I'm not sure that I would believe that would happen. Because we've kind of seen the news media in Babylon 5 to this point. They did show signs of that being compromised, kind of thing, or jaded or biased, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe biased rather than completely compromised. There's a difference between biased journalists and journalists that aren't journalists anymore, and the 90s was a time where maybe they were just biased, but still journalists. I don't know.
I don't.
I will say that I'm a little disappointed that Julie was sent back to Earth to help with this. Like, you think there'd be enough people back there. I was expecting maybe, I don't know, maybe she'll be back next episode, but I was expecting a couple episodes of her just being a thorn in Sheridan's side, making problems at least until they try to find a way to get rid of her or something, or maybe all kinds of different options if she were there.
Well, we don't know that she might not be back. She might be back.
Yeah, she might be back. I'm hoping, because that could be makes for some interesting, storylines where you have him jumping around, but maybe she's gone for good. I don't know.
Yeah. So, Madman's saying about the important takeaways: Shadow's responsible for the death of President, Santiago, I think is what he meant to say, and that Clark was involved in that. But of course, we have seen before that we saw Morden meeting with a senator and a Psi Corps member on Earth. So by that point, we knew that Morden being tied in with the Shadows is that they're they've got their fingers in that as well. So of we know that they're involved with Centauri and with Earth. So that's 2 of the 5, formerly 5. We know they're not involved with the Vorlon, but
I suspect they're involved with the Minbari. We haven't seen we haven't seen that. I pointed that out 2 episodes ago, I think.
Well, but even longer than that, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe your theory is that the military faction is compromised.
Yes.
Oh, you mean the Grey Council, the fact that there's
particularly
4 military and only 2 religious, and it's so pretty suspicious.
Upset the balance.
I guess there's got to be something about that.
Well, everything about the Minbari is about a balance, about the balance of 3, 3, and 3. The Council of 9 and all that stuff, and shadow and the dark. It's a balance between the two. We are the gray. So the Shadows is trying to upset that balance. There on Earth, they're trying to upset the political balance because we're very, very politically driven. And in the Centauri, they're upsetting the balance by giving them. Well, ultimately the answer to everything that's happening is rooted in the question. What do you want, Mr. Vice President? What do you want, Ambassador Malari? What do you want, General whatever he is from the Minbari? I could see that, being why it's the what do you want. It's kind of all coming together in that regards.
All right. Anybody, anything else anybody wanted to? I'm just looking at my notes. I don't see anything. Pretty much I brought up all my questions that I had about everything. So anybody else got anything? We'll head to the end of the show.
All right.
No? Okay. All right. Great. Yep. Let's go with trivia.
Ooh.
Trivia questions for today's show. Let me just turn this off. Let's bring this up. So, whoops. So, trivia questions. Voice of Authority. What was the code that Garibaldi received from Ivanova? That's the code. We kind of mentioned it. Who says, it looks to me like she's already all over you? Yeah, it's pretty easy. What help does Jakar offer to Garibaldi? Who is the unseen person with Clark in the conspiracy video? And in what other episode is Planet Sigma? 957. Pretty easy today. I think we pretty much.
I think we pretty much covered
most of those. So should be easy. All right. Final thoughts on the episode. Go ahead, Jeff. You want to start?
Sure. Overall, I thought it was a really good episode. There was a little some in your face with the whatever she is, the blonde Aryan looking lady. It was kind of a clear reference, and in some of the some of the things she did, sure, it's kind of questionable about would she have really been, but I think they had a limited time to fit it into, so I get it. She's laying it on thick. She's trying every trick in the book. I think Zach was really good. The way that he portrayed his, back and forthness. Garibaldi, I get, Jakar was, his points were quite well made, and he's like, hey, let me help, let me in, guys, I can help, and yeah, well, maybe eventually, but right now we don't know if, it's
How long do you think it'll take Garibaldi to learn Narn so we can read that book?
I think
Forever.
Garibaldi's going to see the pictures, and he's going to go, wait a second, I saw that.
Yeah.
And this book is how old? 1,000 years, and he's going to have questions for Jakar, like right off the bat. He may not even be able to read the Narn,
Well, that was the funny. But he's like, learn.
Yeah, that's the bit.
Yeah. But I think he'll look and see the pretty pictures, and he'll be like, "Oh crap, Sheridan needs to see this."
Mhm.
I think that's, and at that point, I think that's when they're going to call Jakar in.
Hasn't Jakar already revealed that to the council?
I don't think he has. I don't
Yep.
remember. I don't remember seeing that. He's talked to the council about the threat that's coming, but I don't think he's done anything with the book.
Well, he talked to the guy from the Ministry of Peace about it for sure. So I'm pretty sure he's mentioned it.
Yeah, but they just kind of brushed it off as kind of some religious text, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, because he talked about didn't he have a conversation with Brother Theo at some point about that book? I know he's talked to a number of different people about what's in there and what information's there, and he's also building as a religious figure, religious leader as opposed to a politician now too. So
yeah,
who knows? There are plenty of people he's probably talked to about it.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I'll give the episode an 8.5. I think it was really good. I think last episode was maybe a little bit better, but I did like that we got to see aliens that are totally different. And something completely, and I hope we continue to see that. Not just as you pointed out, Jason, just another, different nose, or the ears are a little different, or in a different spot, or whatever, but all basic humanoids. In this case, we got something that's completely different. So,
yeah.
But 8.5, I think, is where I'm going to go with this one.
Jason.
I'm gonna give it an 8. We'll go ahead with an 8.5. I think Cam's got a point on the scene with Ivanova, doing her recruiting pitch. It doesn't diminish the episode for me that it was done, because it was played for the humor a little bit. Also plays it also reinforces Ivanova's cynicism about dealing with people. That's part of it too. The political officer thing, my gripe on that is that we went from zero to naked really quick, and that kind of, as a writer, that makes my teeth grind just a little bit, because that's a little bit too much. But other than that, I thought it was overall pretty solid episode.
Cam.
Okay, I'm going to give this episode, I think, a 7.5. I think that the stuff that happened in it, that the other guys here mentioned and we've talked about, is good. The content is pretty good, and there are some highlights, like I said, Zach and Garibaldi's interaction and Jakar's interaction with Delenn and Garibaldi, I think, were great. But other stuff was I don't know. It was rough. Like I said, some of the things with Ivanova were too cutesy. Again, all the stuff with the Miss Mazzanti, is it? It was I don't think it was a matter of bad performances. I think she did a good job, actually, in portraying the character that was being asked to be portrayed, but it was her character. Well, I don't know. Seeing what I see in the world today, it's like, I guess nothing surprises me. But this is, it's like people shouldn't be that way. I don't know. It's not believable to me that a real person can act that way. But
she's too overt and right in your face with
it.
For being a political and sure, being a political officer, that's her job and whatnot. But she was very Soviet about it, and I think for the time, you have given when the show was in production, you've got not really so much the Nazis, but the Soviet Union is sitting right there, and I think that was probably a wink and a nod toward that, and how things can go from just a little nudge, just a little nudge, just a little nudge. Crap, we're a mile away from where we were. How did we get here? But it was too much too fast.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, it's like she was doing the good cop, bad cop thing. It's like I could see someone that's a complete lunatic. It's like they buy into everything and they're going, and she clearly is that, as we've discussed. But then, the bit about where she's basically like, oh yeah, well, we're just changing the definition. I mean, that's clearly, Orwellian, and it's just like, oh, no problem. But then again, a couple of years ago, I'd say, oh, no one would ever be like that, but I guess they are. It just rubs me the wrong way, I guess. So, again, it wasn't about the performances, but it just, I think JMS was getting a little too, I don't know. It just wasn't smooth. You know what I'm saying? Some of the stuff, it just could have been done a little better, I felt.
Was it too compressed, you think? Maybe,
yeah, there was a lot that they pushed in here. And like you said, there was no time to develop it, and it just went too fast. And, if she was on the show for a couple episodes or something, and
building it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think that's a good way of putting it. It was a little, so I don't think it was bad. It wasn't a bad episode, but it just wasn't my favorite. It just didn't quite get there,
All right, I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I agree with the points that all my fellow panelists made, with the exception of the with Jason and Cam mentioning Julie. I think I like the fact that she so quickly changed, like she just drops her clothes so fast. I think that further highlights the fact that she has no interest in Sheridan at all. She's just doing a job, and hey, I'm going to just do my job. Oh, I got to do this next. I think that helps to highlight the fact that she is it's nothing to her. It's a job, and that's what she's doing. So I found that, I mean, maybe it was a little bit unrealistic, but I think it furthered the kind of person that she is, and the kind of regime that she is supporting, and what they're like. So I like that aspect.
You believe her
of it. So I see the other side of it too, of course. I'm not saying you guys are wrong, but I like that. I think that further cements that.
It played better for you, I guess.
Yeah. I just she doesn't see Sheridan as a human. He's a target or whatever. It further reinforces it.
Yep.
Okay, well, it's time for me to get naked, so I will get naked like I'm supposed to. Anyway, that's my thoughts of it. But overall, good episode. I agree. We're dropping a lot of breadcrumbs in there, and I'm interested to see these various threads that have been sort of reeled out a little bit more, where they go. So that's my call. Okay, well, what's going on other channels, Jeff and then Jason? What are you guys up to?
Well, apparently there's some financial information that was leaked from WotC covering the past 18 years.
No.
Yeah. Somebody dropped it. Yeah, and that
are we talking about that on Sunday?
I think that might come up. Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna have a couple of guests on with us. pushing anything specific. They're not doing a no Kickstarters or anything like that this time. So we'll be a little bit open, more open conversation. Hopefully, they'll both be able to join us. My buddy Flint Fireforge, who does work with tabletop with kids and stuff like that, teenagers, with the Boys and Girls Club. He does stuff with that, and then also Dying Breed Tabletop. He's one of Ryan's co-hosts on Rumble. I know Jason, you've interviewed Ryan. I don't know if you ever got to talk to Kyle or not, but that's his counterpart there on that show. So he's hopefully they're both going to join us, and yeah, we're going to discuss some of the stuff that they're up to. I'm sure Cam, you'll want to get the skinny on how they got into gaming. I already kind of warned them about that. I said, "Oh, Cam loves to hear about people's stories." So and then maybe we'll bring up some of these topics, and I've got to do a little bit more research and find out what's going on. So
sure, sounds good.
Jason.
1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Dan Danford will be here. We're going to be talking about the hostile takeover attempt by Paramount to buy Warner Brothers. The whole mergers and acquisitions thing with Netflix and Warner Brothers and Paramount and Skydance, where all that goes. Nobody wants this deal, but it looks like it might go. I mean, if the regulators allow it, it'll go through, but who knows, what that's going to do. But we'll be talking about that tomorrow. And then I'll be on Comics Division's channel tomorrow night, and Friday, probably do an open line, but I'm not sure yet.
All right. And we've got some of our affiliated channels, people in the chat, and we see sometimes here. Check out Outpost Nerd for Nerd at Night. Check out his channel, and of course Madman with a show. He's got Madman Cafe, Otaku Thursday, and Madman with a show, his daily videos. All this stuff is down there if you guys want to check him out. Check him out. Cam.
Well, I don't have any content of my own. I just appear on other channels like Sci-Fi Snob on the Sunday night at 11 p.m. We have Top Lofty Lounge, and we have topics. I have no idea what it's going to be this week, but I'm sure it'll be something. Do you know what it is?
It'll be great.
It'll be great. Greatness is what we'll have.
We're going to talk about what's going on in science fiction, sort of a general, various properties or things that have come out that might be new, things that have come out that be old, all kind of stuff. We're trying to make this a monthly sort of show, see how it goes. I'm still thinking of a name, maybe like the State of Science Fiction or something like that, but maybe cooler. But anyway, let's try to do that.
Right. And then, of course, as Jeff mentioned, I help co-host on the Bad News Bards on Sunday evening at 9 o'clock Eastern on Tennessee Tabletop Tavern and Sci-Fi for Me TV. And then, of course, this show, which will be back next Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern for episode 6 of season 3.
And by the way, I did not die in my game.
Oh,
my Monday games is gonna go on to session 7, I guess. He tried to kill us, but he did not succeed.
And I will remind everyone that on the show, we've got some of the 2 best rated IMDb shows are coming up in season 3. Episode 10 is the highest rated, and episode 22, I think, which is the last one of the episode of the season, is the second highest rated. So those should be a banger of a season, and talking about those episodes. And of course, as mentioned earlier in the show, we have our special interview 2 weeks from today with Peter Jurasik, who plays Londo Malari on the show. That should be big. We're pulling our questions together, doing our thing. If you want to get some questions in there, go to the Discord or talk to one of us. let us know what your questions are, and we'll put them all together. And of course, come on the show, and if you have a question in the chat, Cam will be monitoring the questions, and if they're relevant, he thinks they fit in, he might sneak them in there. But best way is to get them beforehand. Should be good.
Sounds great.
And and I'll put the I don't have the, I think the Discord's up in the end of the notes, but I'll put the Discord. Did you put the Discord up? I'll put the Discord up. There you go. In the show notes too. So yeah.
And that should take you right to that channel too. Right to the where we're taking the questions. So
Yep.
Oh, all right. Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. That's perfect. All right. That's it for the show. Did I miss anything, Cam?
Nope. Just thanks everybody in the chat. Appreciate it as always.
Guys.
Yeah, and a good show. We got it says we have 22 people watching. That's great. I'm glad. Good to see more people coming in. Come in, throw your questions. We like to engage with the chat. Tell us what you think. If you think we missed something about the episode we're talking about, hey, scream it out, and we'll try to address it and talk about it. All right, thanks everybody. Appreciate you coming by. See you next week. Good night.
See ya.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.